All right, everybody. I don't actually know if I spelled BS session correctly. And I don't actually know if people are going to show up to this, but, you know, DJ Odyssey said if no one else is going to go live, someone needs to. So here I are. And I will talk until someone else shows up and then we can have a chat. And there are no people watching. That's funny. Oh, no worries. Everybody can show up when they want to. I'm going to put the link in the stream in the chat right now. So anybody who wants to can just come on and chat. And I will go ahead and tell my stories while people show up, if people show up. Honestly, don't know if people will show up because I just started this stream for fun. So, yeah, I'm not even showing on the thingy there. Oh no, I gotta go over to my ay. Really, this is crazy. All right, my channel, and I am live now. BS session. I don't know if BS session is spelled correctly, but we are here. I am here, and I will continue talking. So, in 1995, I graduated high school in June. I was working full-time at a truck stop, and I was dispensing fuel and selling gewgaws and doodads and things like that. So I found myself going back to the high school at least once a week just to visit, people I knew at the high school. And it was probably a very unhealthy thing for me to do. And I realized that, so I went to the Army recruiter. And I said I would like to, join the Army. And the recruiter said, okay, we're doing the ASVAB is what we call it, but it's a vocational aptitude test, ASVAB. Armed Forces Vocational Aptitude Test is what it's called. And so I took the ASVAB and scored very, very high. And the commander of the recruiting station said, hey, what do you want to do? Now, mind you, the experience I had was in fuel. So I thought, fuel handler, that makes sense. Drive a fuel truck all over the place. Oops. Turns out when you drive a fuel truck all over the place, you really are driving a fuel truck through a war zone.
What's up?
Hey, Sam, what's happening?
Nothing much, man. Just chilling.
Yeah, I'm expecting other people to show up, but I can't guarantee anything. So, there's a couple of people watching right now. You're one of them. So, what's happening, brother?
Nothing much, really. Just chilling here before I end up going to work soon.
I used to do work. Yeah, I quit that.
Are you retired?
I am actually retired, yes.
Oh.
I'm not old enough to draw on my Social Security retirement, but I'm disabled, so I get to draw on my Social Security disability. And so that's what I'm doing now. And I figured, I got all this extra time now. I'm not working 40 hours a week anymore. So let's start a YouTube channel and see what happens.
I'm not gonna lie. The whole reason why I started like grinding on YouTube was because of this whole, isolation, stay at home. So I had nothing to do. I was still working, but not that much hours.
Yeah. No, I get that. We were actually all laid off at the end of March. March 25th was my last day of work. And I had already been reduced down to 20 hours because I kept falling at work. And they were hoping that I would be able to stay on as a purchasing agent, even at 20 hours a week. Unfortunately, my legs are giving out far more often than anyone ever expected. And so I can't work,
Oh
at
man,
all.
that's unfortunate.
Yeah, it's no big deal, though. I'm alive. I'm raising my kids. That's good enough.
A blessing in disguise, I guess.
Yeah, pretty much. So once Social Security kicks in, we'll be in the same position we were in before I quit working. Right now, it's a little tight, but we're making it. So no worries.
Yeah, that's how it always is. I'm not gonna lie, I haven't even been spending anything on any wants lately because I can't.
Yeah, and I keep trying to pay my son for the work he does around the house. Kind of an allowance, sort of incentive thing. My daughter is only 10 years old, and she hasn't figured out that when I pay her, it's for the work that she does. So she expects me to just give her money. And I go, that's not how it works,
Oh yeah, once I think that if once any of us gets used to something, we kind of expect it to be that way.
Yeah. But no, that's what I'm working on right now with the kids is, you need to work in order to earn the money that I give you. If I tell you to go to the store and buy candy, I expect you to, clean the kitchen. To my standard, not just wash the dishes, like clean the kitchen.
Yeah. Anybody can wash the dishes.
Yeah. So you got to remove everything from the counter and clean the counters and sweep and mop the floor and everything. That's cleaning the kitchen. Doing the dishes is just literally doing the dishes. And, you don't get paid for that. Or weed eating the backyard, right? So I've got a double lot. So I've got damn near half an acre. And so the boy has to take it in sections, and he's doing really well. It's just that it's taking him, 3 weeks to do it.
Wait, is one lot like a quarter acre?
In the town that I live in, yes. It was a railroad town, and so a lot of the lots in the town are very large. I could actually petition the city to make it into 2 lots, build a second house, and then I wouldn't have a mortgage because my renters would be paying for my house. But I don't want to do that.
Because you never know who will come through.
Yeah, I've been a landlord, and it's unpleasant for the most part.
I feel like it's more than okay. I think it's more than half the people that end up failing with like consistency in payments.
It wasn't the payment so much as the lack of upkeep. So I don't know, honestly, if they expected me to keep the lot clean and fresh and, not full of weeds and garbage. I don't understand the mentality of renters that screwed everything up constantly. I mean, we had freaking bed bugs.
Probably because one of them brought furniture that had bed bugs.
We finally got rid of the renters, and we spent 3 months getting rid of the bed bugs. So I was irritated as hell. Prior to that,
you probably bombed the place like more than twice, huh?
Oh, Digit 11 is here. Look at that. All right. Let's bring Digit 11 up.
Okay, what's up, Digit 11?
Yellow. I heard you were talking about the infested house.
Oh, God. Yes. Wasn't as bad as the cockroaches, though, from the house that you and your mom lived in, right?
I hate cockroaches.
We bug bombed that house like 4 times, and as far as I know, they're still getting roaches in that house. I mean, they don't live there anymore. They live in California, but still roaches. After what's it been, like 2 years since they've lived there?
Yeah. I can't imagine. No, it's just gross. Oh,
okay. You know Albuquerque, the city, or maybe you don't, but
I mean, I know the
there a few times.
I know the Looney Tunes. I should have taken the left turn at Albuquerque.
Yeah, that's the Albuquerque in my state. But freaking okay. You know how cockroaches are bad in cities, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
My dad, he lives near Central. It isn't Central, but he lives near Central, and it's bad. And oh my gosh, I remember I would be hearing one crawling. I thought it was just me, but I actually heard it crawling on the couch, and then that.
Oh God! Oh my God!
If you can legitimately,
don't even finish that story. I can't stand it.
If you can hear a cockroach, there is something deadly wrong with that.
Oh, God,
like
that's so
seriously,
gross.
If you can hear a cockroach, ugh.
I told my dad, I'm like, I ain't about sleeping on the couch. That thing just crawled on my face. I washed my face.
God, that is so gross. Yeah, in 96, I was in Fort Stewart, Georgia. And yes, the barracks were infested with roaches. Absolutely infested. And I had a room that had 3 guys in it, and my bed was literally just a frame on the floor. And so the roaches would crawl over me at night. Oh my God. I woke up many, many times at night with roaches crawling on me, and I just go, ah!
God, I cannot imagine.
Before moving into that roach-infested house, as a matter of fact, I remember we took a trip to Death Valley with Grandma Judy.
Yeah.
And I was terrified of that cockroach.
There were only a couple of them.
Nowadays,
that was actually fairly nice room for where we were.
Yeah, but nowadays, if I see a cockroach, or any bug for that matter, I just nonchalantly, with no feeling of fear or disgust, crush them under my heel like the dirty insects they are. I've become desensitized to crawling bugs. Now, I'm still terrified of huge moths because frick things that can fly, man. Frick bugs that can fly.
You're still afraid of butterflies.
Frickin' SpongeBob! God, screw that show.
No, this is Patrick.
Look, I stopped watching after the butterfly episode, and I've hated the show since. Every time I see anything about SpongeBob, I physically get angry. I hate SpongeBob that much.
Because when we go down to Uncle Louie's house, Cynthia still has SpongeBob all over the place.
That's almost like saying if you've seen a painting, it gets you angry. That's a very weird reason to be angry, but okay.
I have rage issues, all right?
Oh, I got anger issues too.
I can get mildly frustrated at something, and then it'll work itself up into pure, unbridled rage.
Oh, I had to take him out for sushi yesterday because he was doing that.
No, that was a mental breakdown. There's a very distinct difference when it comes to me. Rage is when I'm ready to punch my hand through a wall that is made of metal. Mental breakdowns are when I'm about to curl up into a ball and cry for the next 8 hours.
When you're feeling every single damn emotion.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Feeling so many emotions at once that it gets overwhelming and you just want to cry for 8 hours.
You know what? That sushi was actually pretty damn good.
Oh yeah.
This sounds strange to mention, but you ever you ever just lay down and then you were kind of thinking while kind of half asleep while resting, and then all of a sudden, like you feel you start hearing waves, I don't know, like random vibrations. I was like, what the heck was that?
Oh, I get that all the
I can't
time.
say I have, but I do hear every so often my ear will go like half volume and I'll hear an ominous ringing for like 10 seconds and then it just goes away.
I think, yeah, I know what you're talking about right there. Like I don't know where the and it'll kind of hurt, but then it'll get back to normal.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
God, it's I felt that yesterday, as a matter of fact, before I woke Dad up. I was like pacing up and down the house and my ear just went half deaf, and then I heard the ringing and I was like, okay, that's probably not a good sign.
Yeah, I really think that's just our ear canals kind of adjusting to the noises, so it probably hurts itself to get used to loud noises. I don't know.
Something
I feel
like that. Yeah,
like that's what it is.
it's pretty common. I mean, it's fairly common for most people, but I do know exactly what you're talking about. Laying in bed and just everything is kind of vibrating. Really,
it was just my brain. Like I felt my legs and the rest of my body felt well and everything, and like I thought I was just thinking of a vibration, but really that vibration I was hearing, like it just like came out of me exactly like that, and it was weird.
Looks like Captain Trek is here.
Hello, Captain Trek.
Oh, hey, Captain Trek, what's happening?
My captain.
Oh, Captain, my Captain. You need to stand on your table when you say that.
If I stand on my table, I'll hit my head on my slanted roof.
Here's the funny thing. I don't have a table in my house. Just a coffee table, and it'll break.
Digit 11, did you have any trouble putting the dresser together for your sister yesterday?
No trouble, but since I needed range of motion in my wrist, it started hurting shortly after starting to put it together. So I had to stop. I need to finish putting it together today.
Okay. No problem. No problem at all. Captain Trek, you want to come up and chit-chat with these young fellers?
No, just give it about 10 seconds to get to the YouTube.
Nah, no worries. So, what do you have planned for today, Digit 11? Are you going to go to the swap meet?
Oh, hell no. No. I am not going downtown in any capacity unless it's to buy myself lunch or something.
There you go. All right.
Downtown is absolutely flubbernucked right
It
now.
is nuts right now, yeah, with the car show going on.
We hardly got out of town yesterday.
There's Captain Track. Hey, Captain Track, what's happening?
Oh, not too much. What's going on with you all?
Well, I figured since DJ stopped his stream, I figured I'd start one of my own.
Cool. I'm glad somebody did.
Might as well see what's happening.
Absolutely.
I gotta schedule my next live D&D session with my group. See who all can make it.
When are you doing that? Because I'll be working from a certain time, and when I'm working, I'm never on my phone.
Yeah, we always start at 5 Mountain Time.
Oh, you're
5
Mountain Time.
p.m. Yeah, 5 p.m. Mountain Time. So,
What state are you in?
Arizona.
Arizona. Oh, okay. I'm in New Mexico.
Yeah, we're an hour behind you.
Yeah. So,
No,
I guess for you,
I'm also Mountain Time.
Yeah, but Arizona doesn't change for daylight savings. So we're with California time right now. That's why I always say Pacific when I advertise my live streams.
Yeah. We actually had a scheduling mishap on the first session because of that. I was like, Mountain Standard Time. And apparently, Mountain Standard Time is technically an hour ahead of what we are. Even though we are on Mountain freaking Standard Time. So, I eventually just said Arizona time. Because we are an enigma.
We are an enigma.
Isn't
6 months
Sedona
of the
there?
year we are on Mountain Standard Time, and 6 months of the year we're on Pacific Time.
So CCDV.
I agree with you, Maxwell Entertainment. Central Time Zone is the only real time zone.
The only true time zone is Central.
Trey, what's up, man? You want to come on to the live stream? Hit the link in the chat. Sir Spade Sam, you had a question for me.
I forgot, honestly. Oh yeah, I actually did have a question. I remember now. Isn't Sedona in Arizona?
Yeah.
I hear there's like portals and stuff in Sedona.
It depends on your religious point of view.
I've only heard of it. I'm not saying I believe it, but I've heard of it.
Yeah, there are
Hey, Knight. It's odd that you decided to show up here.
I was bored.
Yeah, I can tell. Everybody,
up,
this is the owner of the Sorted Online server that I'm a moderator for.
Excellent. Hello, Knight.
I'd like to think we are personal friends, but I'm not entirely certain on that.
We are. I mean, I've known you for like 6 months.
Yep, something like that. Actually, no, it's almost been a year because we met online
back in November.
Last November. I thought it was right after camp in July last year.
No, it was November.
All right.
Because I remember you were one of the first members in the server, and that went up about a week before my birthday, which is in November. So.
Yeah, I see.
Ta-da.
Well,
yeah, there are a lot of people that believe there are vortexes in vortices, I guess I should say, in Sedona. And so they crawl up on those big rocks and they lay on the big rocks and they go, "Oh, I feel so great." So,
but really, they feel so great just because they literally.
I think it is a belief more than it is an actual energy vortice. I really do. I think it's more of a belief than it is an energy vortice.
Well, it's more of a cult thing, than a.
Yeah, and that's my personal opinion. So, I mean,
I could see why, because you probably been to Sedona and you probably just it's like, oh.
Yeah, it's just Sedona. I mean, there are some neat places.
Just like any other town you'll hear.
It really is just a tourist town. That's all it is.
Our little town that we live in has a restaurant that apparently was really good, but we went there 2 days ago and it was the exact opposite of that.
Total garbage.
That restaurant, holy
they probably
crap.
Don't even know how to make
I
fries,
ordered a pretzel burger
and
the bun
their
was
fries
soggy.
were awesome. Their fries were awesome.
Oh yeah, the fries were delicious.
But
the pretzel burger
that was awful.
The pretzel burger had a soggy bun. Mr. CCDV's steak was nothing but fat. And one of our friends got the tenderloin. Let's just say it wasn't very tender.
No, it was
that's not
overcooked.
And his wife got the Philly cheesesteak, which wasn't Philly cheesesteak. It was chunks of meat covered in cheese.
Oh.
Well,
so
all I gotta say is you live and learn.
And then yesterday we went to the sushi place. We got faster service with just as big a staff, if not smaller, and better food all in all. So,
I know which local diner to recommend if anyone ever came here. That would be the Schaefer Diner. My personal opinion, anyway. Because they make some pretty bomb burgers. They have a good cook. Everyone knows that cook too, because it's a small town.
And that's near Albuquerque.
I wouldn't say near. I would probably say maybe 80 miles away, south of it. I'm literally Mountain Air is literally the center of New Mexico.
Okay, all right, yeah.
Or around the center.
Actually, probably a really good place to live too. I mean, I like the mountains because it stays cool up here.
Just not this town. It doesn't have a lot to offer.
But Digit 11's high school, they won the Division 8 high school football championship for the state.
I think so, yeah, but the band didn't go because screw that shiz. We were so tiny, there'd be no point in going because they'd record us live, and we were not, in the eyes of anyone in the band, good enough as a whole band even to go there, especially if someone had to cancel last minute. We'd be missing basically an entire section because the low brass was one person.
Yeah, you guys didn't have a tuba player this year, and
we not for marching band. No, we had a lot more percussion.
Yeah,
I was thinking when we went stationary band when Carissa switched over to tuba, but that wasn't marching band, so division whatever football didn't really count because she was I think she played, what was it, quad? Did she play quad? I think she played quad. I don't know.
Our football team, we made it second to state. We just knew whenever it came to the first in state, we were we got wrecked, but at least they still fought. and tried.
We were completely undefeated all year long.
Oh, it was it was a comedy, really, watching the football team play.
We always massacred the other teams. There was nothing left but shame.
I don't think there was a score that was 36-0.
You guys probably have some big boys too, huh?
Oh yeah, we've got huge people there. Freaking jeez, man.
I'm not one of them.
Even the freshmen are huge.
I've always been a short. I've always been a very short and thin thing.
Knight, I want you to tell me about your avatar.
Okay, so I know Digit likes the SEO character Alice, so I just picked a random picture of Alice from my PC files and set it.
Okay.
The funny part is she's looking at the one, like she's looking at the one as in a notification, as if she's deeply offended that it's still there.
Yeah, people spam that emoji in my server whenever we have to tag anything.
It's really funny because I absolutely hate when people have to tag me, because then I'll get notification and it'll be like, ugh!
I cannot believe I'm talking to my son's friends.
Why is that?
It's just weird. I'm a parent, you know. I'm a dad.
I mean, I know I'm not a parent, but I can kind of understand what you're talking about.
You know, there's actually this funny thing that I remember. We were back in Glendale, and my brother would try and come hang out with me and my friend. And one time he had to use pillows as a blanket because we left him to sleep on the couch.
I've been in that situation before.
I do believe that was the last time he ever hung out with us.
What's his avatar name?
I think on StreamYard he went Mr. Derp the Third.
Derp the Third. That's what it is. Derp the Third.
You can't forget the Mister. It's Mr. Derp the Third.
Mr. Derp the Third. He is one skinny boy.
Yep.
I remember one time we had to have an emergency meeting for the staff. Back when Digit was what we call governing admins now. So was Derpo.
I was one of the highest positions. Yeah. And then I stopped being active, so I got demoted.
And then we started doing repositioning. That's what it was, actually.
Yeah. But
and
I mean,
I remember
it was still due to my inactivity.
And I remember Digit was there, and we were talking about the seriousness of the situation. And then Derpo ran in, and it went from serious to non-serious in like a matter of seconds. I'm
just wondering which one that was.
Because I can't remember what exactly Derpo was doing, but he was doing something incredibly stupid.
As he always does.
And I remember at one point he was just like, "Hold on, BRB," and then apparently I think you were staying with him or whatever. He just started talking out of your mic.
Oh yeah, that was one of the times we were in the same room.
And then you guys just started like fighting for no reason.
Yep.
And me and the other admins in the call were just confused. We were like, "So this is what these two are up to. This is what they're doing when they're not talking in the server."
He may have been Digit 11 may have been demoted on your server, but he is my producer. So
yeah.
Well,
because you're not big enough, I'm not getting paid for that.
Shut up.
It's hard work, man.
You're getting paid for a lot of stuff. Be quiet.
Once Shay commences or finishes his mass firing, I'll be hired for $10 an hour. Sun up to sundown, baby.
Yeah.
Ton of work.
Money for that.
So I'll be able to pay you back all the stuff you've paid me that I couldn't complete.
Oh, it's all right. Yeah, Shay'll come over and finish that wheelchair ramp. So
Yeah, and I'll help him because I'm not gonna sit idly by as he does something. But yeah, it turns out they actually already fired an entire section of the workforce because they weren't doing anything.
well, that tends to be the case in construction a lot of the time.
Yeah, so that's why I'm not working right now because he was planning a mass firing of people. So soon.
Yeah, his dad knows how to work a crew. So.
I'm still not gonna hold my breath, but soon.
No, I want you to concentrate on your GED. So
Yeah.
I would agree. Concentrate on that and then work.
that's what I keep telling him. GED, driver's license, work.
Correct.
And, he is he's working on it.
See, for me, it's girlfriend, Discord server, maintain basic human functions of staying alive.
Says the guy who technically still has to go to school.
Well, it's summer vacation.
Well, yeah, but I mean, once school commences again, you're gonna have to find someone who's not in school to run the server.
Oh no, I can dual wield them. I've done it before. I'll do it again.
Well, I'm not saying, but maybe Digit 11 has a bunch of extra time on his hands.
Yes, I do. But
Admin applications opening in like what? I can't remember what month I was gonna open them. I'm one of those admins, right?
well, you better not do it in July because I'll be spending my time watching more Sword Art and playing Lycoris.
You watch Sword Art?
See,
I
that's
love
that's
Sword
when we're
Art.
gonna need all the mods and admins because that's when the member waves are gonna come pouring in. like, I like literally like for the past couple weeks, I'm like all of the admins and mods have been all of the active ones.
Okay,
you Digit.
so Digit, I have a question for you.
Yes.
Have you watched the original series of Full Metal Alchemist?
No, but Brotherhood follows more closely to the manga, which came first.
Okay, but like watch the first one. It's still a pretty good story. I still like it. I didn't know it followed more of the manga.
I grew up being grounded constantly, so my main source of anime was technically the manga. So
Until he moved in with his dad, and his dad introduced him to Akira.
I had already been introduced to anime because he started me on Sword Art Online, and then I got into Fairy Tail, and then I got into this, and then I got into that. But yeah,
whatchamacallit? The only reason why I was exposed to anime was just probably because of my oldest brother.
I was exposed to anime by a Nightcore on YouTube. Watched SAO as my first anime. Made a Discord server and got a girlfriend and a following of 300 some members. So I think watching anime
is younger than me and has a girlfriend before me.
My girlfriend is going into high school next year. Then again, I'm going into 8th grade. That's what I'm saying.
This sucker is more relationship savvy than I am, and I've been alive for more years than he has.
Let's face it, I'm just a kitty toe of this world.
You are God mode.
Look, see it this way. I'm 20 and I've barely been through 2 real relationships. Yeah.
See,
I've been for like 6.
I haven't had a single real relationship yet.
I don't consider my fourth grade girlfriend or the other girlfriend before that. No.
The longest my quote unquote real relationship lasted was 2 weeks because she got possessive and I turned into a dick.
Me and Lorraine in a nutshell, but we decided to stay together anyway. Did you remember Lorraine?
Yes, I do.
We're not gonna discuss her because we'd probably get demonetized.
Are you kidding me? I haven't had enough watch hours or subs to be monetized. You can talk about whatever you want.
Basically, what he's trying to say is that
Suicidal bitch from Australia that would constantly worry me and make me have constant panic attacks.
I think okay. I
Yeah,
think
toxic
monetized
relationships,
channels
man.
will still talk about whatever they want.
Have you met my new girlfriend yet?
Well,
Well, she's not new. We've been together 2 months, but
trying to think of her name. Which one is it?
it's oh my god, he's been through so many of my relationships. He's like, which one was it?
Oh shit!
I mean, I think I've met her because you invited me to calls with her before.
Lily.
Yeah, that was it. I was thinking something with an L and an I at the end, but frick.
It's
I
a
kept
Y
thinking-
at the end, it's not an I.
I kept thinking, well, the I sound, the E at the end. I was thinking Lori, but no, that's not right.
I still have to do the review of Space Force episode 2. Have you guys seen Space Force?
No.
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 I
No.
know you're well, one of you is 20 and the other one is a teenager like my son, but holy crap. If you want to watch a good science fiction show, watch Space Force. It is
I
heard it's
actually
good.
very, very good. And
if you know me, I will get to it in about 6 months.
yeah. But I need to do a review of episode 2. I've been meaning to do that all week, and I just haven't gotten around to
You know,
it. So
I've had the time.
And
to
if you
watch
do
both
it as a
on video.
video, I'm gonna have to edit it. Do it
Yeah.
as a live stream. I won't, but
hey,
if you do
happy
it as a video.
Dinosaur 8000. Happy joy. What's happening, brother?
We're getting people watching.
What's up, Happy
Yay!
Dinosaur?
Ooh, Adega Outlaw is here as
Adega.
well.
Good. Good afternoon. Oh, and happy day to you, Happy Dinosaur 8000. Yes.
Adega Outlaw is my brother in authorship. Although he actually puts his book out online and I don't. I need to actually start recording my book chapter by chapter. So, yes, Digit 11, you've got work to do.
Did you make a book, but you just didn't record it?
I wrote a book and it's published, and I've sold I don't know, like 30 copies now, probably.
Well, it's a good thing you finally managed to sell some.
Thank you, Digit 11.
Dude, even selling one book is a success.
Speaking of selling guns, I remember one time Digit hit up my Discord DMs like, yo, is there somewhere where I can put my commissions? And I was like, you can put it in an announcements chat. I don't care. And he's like, no, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, and I still haven't.
You can do it. I don't care.
I know I
No
can.
promotions. Put your damn drawings out there, you little bastard.
Considering it's an
And
animated
what if
sport, I'm
I
sure
say
somebody
no, old man?
Digit, it's an
What?
animated Discord server. Somebody will
40
probably buy it.
What are you, 43 now?
Shut up. Don't talk about my age.
I thought I still thought you were 40.
Because anything over 30 is the same age, right?
Exactly.
You're not wrong. Until you get into like the 50s and 60s range. Then until you get about 70. Well, what am I saying?
I only have one gray hair in my beard. I only have one gray hair. I'm good. I'm
I've
still
got
young.
hairs.
Yeah, sadly, I have black hair. Well, dark brown hair. So when I start getting gray hairs, it's gonna show.
I will never show because I shaved my beard and mustache as well as my entire freaking head. Thanks
Yeah,
for the hairline, Dad.
What
You're
about
welcome,
eyebrows?
son. Oh, his eyebrows are going to be like Andy Rooney's.
I don't keep my eyebrows at bay. They grow into resting witch face. I'm trying not to cuss on this stream, but okay, I'll say one cuss word the entire stream. I have resting bitch face, and it's thanks to my eyebrows.
Yeah,
That's the first time I've heard you cuss. You've never cussed that. Well, actually, no. You've said the F word multiple times on Discord. I'll shut
Yeah,
my
I was
mouth.
gonna say I cuss at you all the time.
see, you can say that. You just make sure you don't talk about cooking bacon or farm life.
Right? I cannot believe Jedi Bill's stream got taken down
The stream should be
while we were
safe.
talking about farm equipment.
Really?
Yo, those hoes though.
So you cannot talk about farming on YouTube.
Happy Dinosaur 8000 says I shave most of my feathers for dinosaur religious purposes.
Because dinosaurs have feathers. I know.
That's a good one.
God, that theory is so stupid. Their name is literally Thunder Lizard, which I might add is the best name ever for a freaking hardcore rock band.
Outlaw, actually, I would love to talk to you if you don't mind. Because as a fellow author, and I know I self-published, and I have not recouped any of my money yet, but
I can tell you from experience, Adega is fun to talk to.
but I believe that Adega would be a great guest on this stream.
Ugh.
And I've listened to several chapters of his book, and I am impressed. Absolutely impressed. So,
So I've been reading through my sub boxes the past couple weeks. I've been seeing like karaoke things on this channel.
Yeah, he does karaoke follow-ups to Rambling Canucks ones, but then has me delete them promptly afterward.
Did you remember that one time we were doing that test run for the karaoke event that still has been perfected after like 3 or 4 months?
Yep.
And then you were like, yeah, my dad wants to come, and then everyone was like, well, this is the most supportive parent of any of our staff members.
Yep.
Most of our staff members' parents are not very supportive.
I'm a weird guy, all right? It's like
he cares about my mental health or something.
My parents just bought me my Nitro, and they were like, go do whatever you want online, but we don't want to hear about it. Although they're very supportive of me and my girlfriend, which we're an online relationship.
Oh no, my dad's only rule is don't get caught.
Oh, believe me, my server gets caught up in so much bullcrap that I would not be surprised if some of my members have criminal records by now. But they just didn't get caught.
Adega Outlaw, welcome
Adega.
to the channel, Adega. Thank
Good
you for
afternoon.
showing up.
What's new and wonderful?
Well, everything is new and wonderful. It's springtime.
That's one
Except
of
the
few
riots that are
times
still
someone
happening,
gets that answer
and
right.
fire, and death, and plagues, and sickness, and the coronavirus, and my birthday being canceled, and my summer being canceled,
Yeah,
and being
see, you
cooped up
got the
inside.
answer completely wrong. It's new and wonderful. Not new and you got a crappy life right now.
I still haven't gotten my birthday made up for yet, damn it!
He has to weed eat the front yard all the time. He has to weed eat the front yard today, as a matter of fact.
And the backyard, which is so much more of an endeavor!
Embrace it.
Genuinely!
I'm trying to see if I can muster up a little tear or here or there. They'd all be fake, but no, I can't.
My heart is bleeding for you.
I hate the backyard! It's grown into a forest back there!
Just be glad you don't have to do the neighbor's backyard and the office at work.
You should see my grandma's backyard, though. That thing be looking like the Amazon jungle.
The office at work for me is my bedroom. And I don't take care of that even when I'm told to.
When I was 11 years old, I was doing the yard where they worked on tractors. Not only my own with a push mower, but also somebody else's. I
was it bad
have
when my parents
absolutely
did it?
no sympathy for responsibility.
I said, boy, go into the trailer and get those shelving units out of the trailer. And he
I
was
still
like,
haven't.
okay.
Was it bad? My parents can't even trust me to clean my room, but they trust me with like a real sword that's not dull.
Oh no.
Like
Oh,
they
my.
ordered me an actual sword that I could.
No,
like,
you see, the thing is, when I order a Demon Slayer sword off of Amazon, sure, it's metal, sure, it's cool, sure, it's 41 inches, but it says explicitly that it's a dull sword.
I ordered
I
a
don't
Night
even
Sky
trust
Blade.
myself with my pocket knife half the time.
I ordered a Night Sky Blade off Amazon, and it still doesn't come, by the way. And that
Fun.
thing is like, yeah, it's everything you just said, but it's not dull. It actually specifically says that it's sharpened. And my parents still let me buy it.
Don't play with the pointy end.
The Demon Slayer sword I want is dull sword, and it's like, what was it, like I think it was like $50.
And I'm not willing to put an edge on it for you.
I
Is the
wouldn't
metal
ask
even
you
capable of
If I-
holding an edge?
If I don't trust myself with my pocket knife half the time, what makes you think I'm gonna have you sharpen a sword for me? It is a 30-inch blade. Are you insane?
I'm not insane.
My parents just don't care enough. Like they're like, oh well, we'll order you a pre-sharpened one. They're probably secretly hoping I'll chop my arm off or something.
I got my first knife.
I went to culinary school. Even before that, I knew how to sharpen blades, and so I always had a really great kitchen knife, and I always had a great chef's knife. I always had a great paring knife. So when I went to culinary school, I sharpened all of my fellow students' knives for them because they could not figure out how to use a sharpening stone.
Let's see.
So you're an enabler
Oh,
too, huh?
yeah.
An enabler, yes.
I was right. It's a 27-inch blade. I was only 3 inches off.
Well, then it's technically a dagger.
Really?
Sword, it is
30
now
inches,
dagger
lower
ring.
than 30 inches, it's a dagger.
You
Well,
kids
okay.
are killing me. You kids are killing me. Stop that shit.
Look, technically, these blades are canonically made for children to slay demons with.
If it looks like a duck and it quacks like a duck,
It's a duck.
In the canon of the show,
sword, all right?
in the canon of the show, these blades are made for 16-year-olds and younger. They cannot be
13-year-old.
like 37-inch blades, or else they will drag it across the floor when they have it sheathed on their belt.
Depends on how
I'm
tall
13
you
and my
are.
parents let me get like a 40-inch blade. That's sharp.
When I was 13, I had my second rifle.
When my
Dad
girlfriend,
still
when my
hasn't
girlfriend was
taken-
12, her dad let her get a gun.
Dad still hasn't taken me shooting with a real gun yet.
I haven't fired a rifle in over 5 years, so
I haven't left my room in over 3 months.
not saying I can't.
Have you cleaned the litter box?
Meow.
Well, he hasn't left his room. I'm just checking to make sure that things are okay. We don't have anything growing in a corner.
No, I should say I haven't left the house.
Gotcha.
I have a gloom corner that is currently sprouting mushrooms that I go to whenever I get disappointed.
Oh,
Why
that
would you
makes
do
me
that
a
to
bad
yourself?
parent. That makes me a bad parent.
I'm just kidding. Nowhere in my room is sprouting mushrooms that I know of.
Mushroom.
I know of.
I walked away, but I just heard mushrooms as soon as I came in.
The gloom corner came from Oron High School Host Club, which I might add has the cutest reverse trap ever.
What is a reverse trap?
So a trap is a guy that looks like a girl with a dick, or a trap is a
I
guy with a dick who looks like a girl. A reverse trap is the opposite.
A girl with a dick?
No, a girl with no dick that looks like a guy. God damn it, man. I am 2 seconds away from leaving this stream in anger.
I will call you on Discord if you do that.
You're my son. You're not allowed to leave.
Oh,
I'm your boss. You're not allowed to leave. I'm calling him on Discord. Hold on. I'm calling him. I'm gonna call him.
Digit 11 took off.
I'm calling him on Discord right now.
I'll tell you.
He declined the call.
I'm not sure I want to bring him back up. What do you guys think?
I think he's been a bad boy and he needs to go to timeout. He
needs to go stand in the corner for a while.
Digit, go sit the fuck in the corner. Oh, there he is.
You're sitting in the corner
oh
now.
my god. Oh, Knight, if I didn't know you were joking, I would have gotten so pissed at you. I hate it when John tries to dad me.
Oh no, that's not gonna happen. No.
I physically get angry at him when he does stuff like that.
Yeah, even Shay won't let that happen anymore.
So I found out there's apparently an anti-me server on Discord.
Yeah, fun.
I have a family that's living with me. They are homeless right now, and they are politically diametrically opposed to anything that I stand for, basically.
Constantly ask me, how's that soda can collection? Even though I haven't had a soda can in months. Now, granted, I haven't actually cleaned up my soda cans, so there are still like 5 or 6 in here. But
Didn't you have that one out, that like Alice in the Bikini figure that was just covered in Sprite cans?
Yes, I did. I still have the figure. I just don't have it covered in Sprite cans. In fact, yeah, it's actually sitting on my bedside table right now. She stares at me while I sleep.
Well, you probably want that.
Oh, absolutely. If I could, I'd materialize her into a real woman and try and coerce her into being my girlfriend.
You're literally that one guy that's on.
Even though technically in canon she's older than 18, so that's technically pedophilia.
She's 19 in the
You know what's really funny? What's really funny about Digit 11? His gaydar is broken.
Yep. Absolutely shattered to a billion pieces.
What? Okay, you have to explain this one.
I can't detect who's gay or not. So I will go up to a girl and try and ask her on a date, and she'll say, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm gay." So either they're actually gay, or they don't, or they absolutely despise me and want me to feel ashamed of asking them on a date and calling themselves gay. Now, granted, the 2 people who've actually said that are in fact gay. I have in fact confirmed that. One actually wants to be trans, as a matter of fact, so technically not gay, but I mean, whatever.
Well, it still falls under the LGBT.
Yeah, it does,
Yeah.
but like it's not
Falls into
considered.
that same
It's not.
community.
It's not considered gay if you want to be a male who wants to be with females. So, I mean, I don't know if it can be considered straight either, but
You don't want my honest opinion on that, I don't think, or I don't think anyone else does.
I'm
Okay.
not sure that my experience in high school was anywhere near the level of LGBTQ LMSXQYZ.
Just call them alphabet
L.
alphabet community.
Let's call it the alphabet.
did you know?
Call them the
That-
Baphomet.
Did you guys know that pedophiles are legitimately trying to justify their actions by saying they should be a part of the LGBT community because they identify in very strong air quotes as a younger age than they are?
We're gonna have to make a sexuality for the kids that are into these guys.
Yeah, someone on Reddit actually said that they are a teleophile, which means you're into people older than 18. Which again, it's just trying to justify pedophilia on the other party's part.
I'm laughing at the happy dinosaur.
I don't even.
My arms cannot use weapons, but since I don't brush my teeth often, one chomp from me is lethal.
What a
Cool.
dinosaur.
You know, you can actually put that on screen by clicking on that comment.
Yeah.
I know. I just don't do that. I know.
Okay then.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny, right? And then I can hide it, and I know how to do it. I just don't. Generally, because I read the comments out. I don't have that many followers that I have to worry about dealing with, putting the comments up on the screen.
All right, so here's some context to the big Dumbo moment I just had. I sent my girlfriend a link to this stream, because I told her I was in a podcast because she was asking where I was, and my girlfriend is an Asuna themed profile, right? And I accidentally sent the link to my other Asuna friend.
Oh no!
Saying, here you go, sweetie. And she's like, what? And I was like, oh shoot, wrong person.
I tried to text Mr. Derp the Third once and accidentally texted Miss Hatter in his place. I was trying to text him about a video game, and unfortunately, I didn't realize that I tapped on Miss Hatter, so I texted her about a video game, and I was like, crap.
And Miss Hatter is my age, and she is a school teacher. Oh my God, I didn't know you did that. That's so funny. But Miss Hatter is going to help you pass your GED, so that's good.
Yep.
I mean, the good news is about this is it's not a big deal because
Yosef
my girlfriend is friends with this girl. I'm close to this girl.
Here,
Like,
Joseph Petrick. Hey, brother.
Joseph.
Isn't it like 10 o'clock where you're at right now? Go ahead and answer whenever you're ready. You know.
Actually, it should be only about 8 or 9.
Oh, I guess that's about right. Yeah. Huh. It's weird having teenagers on a live chat. It's really weird. Normally I'm live chatting at like 2 o'clock in the morning.
I'm awake then too.
Yeah, I'm the only one who's not usually awake then. My body started putting me out around 11.
I've become nocturnal.
I've become the opposite. I am completely diurnal at this point. That's not the right word.
Oh, it's only 9 o'clock where Joseph is. All right.
Yay!
Well, at least it's dark. Yeah.
For us, it doesn't get dark until 9. You know,
if you want to ask a girl out, your wife shuts you down. That's funny. I love it.
my phone's crack that I got from throwing it when I was at a swap meet grew. It has spread.
You're right, Joseph. Yes, it is refreshing having teenagers on the stream.
But when I saw Digit was here, and I was like, yeah, okay, might as well embarrass him in front of all of his friends.
And yet you still haven't said a single embarrassing thing about me.
Sorry.
I can probably pull some things out of my butt crack.
I came back to this.
One time,
you know not the level of embarrassment I give myself on a daily basis.
Okay, so here's a story.
Adega actually wants to make an embarrassing comment about Digit 11. Go ahead, Adega.
About what?
Mr. CCDB.
Give me a second, I could do it. I just didn't hear what it was you said.
Oh,
I come in
okay.
here and he's talking about pulling things out of his butt crack, and I figure, wow, someone needs some soap. Either that or stay away from things in that area. You know, it's output, not input.
Well, guys, I'm gonna take off.
Soap on the rope.
All right. See you,
See you,
sir.
Spade.
Sam.
Yeah, have a good one, Odega, Captain Check, Knight, Mr. CCDV, and Digital 11.
All right.
All
See
right.
you, dude.
Spade Sam, thank you. Thank you for hanging out with us.
So
All
anyways,
right.
here's my
Now
story.
your girlfriend can get in here and embarrass me too, even though she knows
She's
virtually
not. She
nothing
was
about me.
watching. She's not anymore. So, anyways, here's the story. So it was like around New Year's, I believe, and he had just gotten his Alice figure, right? And I can't
Yeah?
remember who he said he was with, but he said he was with somebody.
Mhm. I was actually with mom at that point, so
It was your mom, okay?
Yeah.
And you were looking for a normal Alice figure, but they only had the bikini ones, right?
Yep. Mom got.
And when you were getting
pictures
it,
of me.
your mom was like, "Is this gonna mess with your problem?" And I was like, "Oh, what's this problem you speak of?" And he's like, "Nothing." And I was like, "Is it chronic?" Word I'm not gonna say on stream.
Is it chronic? Let's think of a safe for work term for this. Wanking? Yes, it is in fact chronic wanking.
Chronic masturbation. If you're gonna say
How
it,
did you tell me that figure as it sparked up?
say it. If you're gonna say it, say it.
I'm trying not to get your stream taken down.
For the word masturbation, have you read the rules?
That's against
of
the OS of
YouTube?
YouTube.
I don't know. They're cracking down on
Apparently,
sexual
You're
things.
not allowed to
Like-
talk about John Deere, but you can talk about masturbation all day long.
Apparently.
Apparently. To be honest, I wouldn't be phased if you can.
Well, I can give you the doctor's perspective on it. You wouldn't like what I had to say.
About chronic masturbation?
Yeah.
Okay, let's hear what you got to say.
Does it prove a lack of meaningful relationships in life that you feel you can only get through a screen and by people who are probably being sex trafficked? Because if so, yes.
No, it just
Shut
means
up.
that you're
She
going to have
probably did it to a
significant
freaking
difficulties
daycare.
later on in life. And usually people start to take drugs in order to enhance themselves because they can't get it up otherwise. And it's all because of pornography, masturbation, and way too early exposure to these type of things, which leads to sexual deviancy of all types. There you go.
Yeah, you're probably
The
right.
truth is there, but people don't like to hear it. And there's a lot of
Oh
people
no,
who
I've
want
heard the
you to
truth
know it.
over and over and over and over and over, and mom, god damn it. But yeah, I've heard it my entire life after.
Well, if you would shave your palms, they wouldn't know the difference, all right?
Well, yeah, she caught me once and hasn't let up since. She's like, if you keep doing this, meh. Yeah, I know if I keep doing this, meh, will happen. But it is
What
an
is the meh,
addiction
that'll happen?
now.
What is the that'll happen?
Take shoes out.
You know, with the advancement in eye surgery, it's actually pretty easy to fix that problem nowadays.
What's the that'll happen? Digit, what is
By-
Well,
By the
it's-
words of doctors
It's
and
been said if you masturbate too much, you'll go blind.
Oh, well,
Like
that
a
case, oh, and I'll lose my eyesight.
surgery,
Yes,
you
but I'm
know?
right.
no, it's my mom has told me that it'll be hard to forge meaningful relationships, and I know that for a fact. And
Well, I do it on a nightly, and look at me.
And
I have
I've
a
tried
major
to stop. I have tried and fallen back into it.
I've made one attempt at stopping. I'm one of those, like, I see Note in November, and I purposely fail it not even a second after it starts.
RR, welcome, RR. How are you doing today?
Yeah,
Thank
I'm
you for
just, I
showing
don't
up.
know, man.
Like for me, I'm an animal. I can't really practice just the art of restraint.
But then again, if you also if you fall over, you can't get back up.
See, that's the
Well-
problem with the dino. They don't necessarily go blind, but they become subject to other predators if they keep it up.
Well, I gotta do it in very, very secretive places.
Yeah, good luck.
This is.
Digit 11 does
I gotta be
act-
careful, or a Spinosaurus will get me.
Digit 11 actually does have very hairy palms.
That's probably not all. It's hairy.
I brought this on myself.
All the hair that's on his head is on his.
Actually, Digit 11, I have to agree with you there. You kind of did bring it on yourself.
I brought it on myself entirely. This is my fault and my fault alone.
You know, if you would
You
do
have
the
brought
yard,
it
you wouldn't
upon
have to worry about it.
yourself.
If you would stop practicing upon yourself.
Just go do your chores. You won't have to worry about it. You know, you'd be too busy. I'm old school. You get no sympathy from me.
Middle-aged men making fun of teenage boys. Why not?
And then there's the one 13-year-old boy that's making fun of the freaking stream owner's son.
Just freaking everyone is making fun of me right now.
I'm not making
fun of you. There's nobody here that's dirt on me.
Don't have any sympathy, you know? Hard work, diligence, it all pays off. All those fun things. And if you slap it too much, you are going to go blind. Or you'll lose it. One of the two. I mean, your choice. I have a doctor, by the way.
Or you'll be in danger of predators. Here's wanting to eat you.
I'm not gonna lie, I've actually torn my own skin sometimes by doing it too much.
Oh, I've been here too.
I've been there.
Same here.
there.
Like, my tail is not very precise.
Oh my god.
Yes, you heard me right. I give myself my own hand job with my tail.
And it's a tail
Well,
job.
your
Tail
arm
job.
can't reach, so what else are you gonna do it with?
No, just go up to that like dead like what's the name of that one flying dinosaur carcass and hey, I mean you're not doing it to yourself. You're doing it to a dead dinosaur. Okay, that's arguably worse.
That's necrophilia, you
Necrophilia.
son of a beach.
Yeah, well, you know I'm one of those.
Not
Technically,
called necrophilia
It's like
when you
it's-
turn a dinosaur.
Night. That's how
It's
Jeffrey
like
Dahmer
using-
started out.
I think it's dinophilia.
Yes, Yosef, you are correct.
nah.
Self-deprecating
Dead
humor
thing.
Always-
is all about a strong personality, and I have it. That's
Al-
why I make such self-deprecating jokes all the time.
Oh, I'm right behind you.
We dinos don't see anything other than the dead, other than as food.
That's what she
Yummy
said.
food. You know, something about me is that I am the opposite of a vegan. I will think the exact same things. Like, when I'm eating a chicken and, like, using my fingers to tear the meat off of the bone, I'll be like, what would it be like if I did this to a real chicken that was alive? And then I just continue to eat with no conscious, with no, regret in my mind because, God, meat tastes good.
Join with me. We become members of PETA, People Eating Tasty Animals.
Eating tasty animals. I like that. PETA.
Did you see like one of those people that would like masturbate to like the PETA animal slaughtering videos?
Oh my. Oh.
What
Ah,
the fuck is
People
wrong with
actually
you?
do that? Oh my god.
He probably would.
Look, in my survival class that I had to take,
Nightmare.
I actually had
Swear
to
to God,
glove-
I will have Mr. CCTV kick you off the fucking stream if you keep making jokes like that. It's fucking
It's-
disgusting.
it's
Okay,
called gloving a squirrel. So
Oh
you-
God, no. Okay, no. Bye.
You cut the skin
He'll be
around.
back and in greater numbers.
Maybe
He'll
he's
be
going
back,
to the
he'll be
yard and
back.
doing his chores.
Oh, he'll be back. He'll be back.
You cut the skin around the neck, and then you grab the skin and you pull it off. It's called gloving a squirrel, and it's literally just
You do that with
ripping
rabbits,
all
too.
the skin off of the squirrel, and then you
So
roast
it's like
the-
deboning a fish.
yeah. And it's,
Only more saddening because it's cute.
well, you know, when you're really hungry, squirrels aren't cute anymore. They're food. But you knew that.
Yeah, I eat everything. I will eat anything, my friend.
You don't even bother skinning the squirrel.
Nope, I will just kind of I just eat it one or two bites. I'll swallow it whole. I'll eat it half, save the other half for a few minutes, and eat the rest of it.
Adega, I would actually like to ask you if you would be willing to summarize your book for us.
I'm trying to think.
I had that problem.
George Peter Getsis is having me on, I think, Saturday, where we're going to go over it, and he's actually going to show his cartoonist abilities to draw out one of my characters.
Oh,
Cool.
okay.
So we're going to be doing that Saturday, but the basic synopsis, it's 1,000 years in the future, not like 400 or 200 where you got your Star Trek, your Babylon 5 or everything. So the people are far more advanced, but the story evolves around they in two ways meet their match, whether it be partly human civilization and a breakaway civilization and external forces. And the book is just the very beginning of a big story.
That's fantastic.
The rest of the story is all in full, and what I'm posting now is a prequel. It's one of the main characters, how this person starts off the whole cascade of everything, and then that person is involved in getting the main protagonist on his feet and running.
All right, that's fantastic.
Well, I'm one of those people who doesn't play in other people's sandboxes. I've done it once, and it was a little tough. Not that it was hard to write, it just, I don't like monkeying with existing stories. I won't write a Star Wars story. I did the one Trek short story for Trey. But if I'm going to write something, it has to be something completely unique. And that's what this is.
It's got to be from the heart.
Yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at as well. And that's the way I approached my book, intentionally, just being, well, I mean, I had read the Left Behind series, obviously, and the book that I wrote was literally intended for a Christian audience, but I mean, it's an Edgar Rice Burroughs type of adventure story.
Right.
And so that's, how I approached it with the Edgar Rice Burroughs, Barsoom, John Carter of Mars, but with a Christian bent to it.
Right.
And that was the intent when I wrote the book.
Well, Captain Trek figured it out really quick. Mine is like that, but it's hidden. You have to kind of be, I mean, if you are a Christian or a religious person, I am Christian, but I don't talk about my denomination or anything, or anything about religion, but it's basically set. If you're Christian, you'll know something called the millennium, or the last dispensation. Christ comes and reigns for 1,000 years. It's after that. It's after that. And they don't know anything about it. It's gone so far past those events. All they know is they're in a utopian society that is slowly falling apart. And it's thrown in there in bits and pieces. And like I said, if you're a religious person, you'll be able to pick it up. But that's mine actually is.
Is it really utopian if it's falling apart?
Well, that's the thing, is it's kind of like what we had here. People's eyes are starting to wake up thinking, you know what, it wasn't as good as we thought. We have all these hidden dark troubles that we never really paid attention to. We thought we were living in a good, the United States of America, hoorah, we thought it was great, but undercover there was these terrible people in our government and terrible people around our nation, and now we're seeing it. And it's similar to that in the book, except their society, the technology is very, very advanced, and for the most part they know how to use it without getting into trouble. So, you work for a living, but it's
so it's a more that's grown jaded.
Pardon? You're cutting in a little bit.
All right, I know I was being a bad host.
So a more advanced. Sorry.
Liar.
Maybe it's on my end because you both sound like you're cutting in and out.
I get
hold on. I'll try something.
A guy who brings them up from Mexico, and so they're about half price. And I'm
how about
cheap.
now?
Yeah, that's better.
It's worth it.
Like I said before, so it's basically just a more advanced society that's become jaded.
In some degrees, yeah. There's also a breakaway civilization that broke off early on as things were going. And
so counterculture.
Yeah, they're pretty bad counterculture.
Well,
and
you have the millennial, the millennia of peace, right?
Well, for the main society, and if you were following along with the book that I'm doing now, it's all about the breakaway society. And eventually the main one catches on and figures out.
7 years of the millennia.
Well, the breakaway broke off in 1980s.
Oh, okay.
So they missed all of the events.
So an East Side West Side thing.
A different direction then. Okay.
Right. Yeah, they broke off in the 80s, where some people, even in our society now, think that the what do we call them? Yahtzees had broken away in the 40s. So I used a little bit of the conspiracy theory to kind of get that breakaway civilization started off, where the 80s they finally had technology enough to take off, started out, and then moved way out. And like I said, the story I'm doing now, it shows what they did and how they got to where they were when my first book starts off. But they're pretty dark society, pretty bad.
Well, I've only done one, the one novel that I did, and it's only 40,000 words, and so it's only 100 pages, but
they call those novellas.
Yeah, it's a novella, really, honestly, and it deals with the same basic subject is the millennial rule of Christ on earth. But at the end, the last 7 years deals with the freedom of people to become rebellious. And so it's a little bit different from what you're describing. But I think it actually has very similar themes to what you were talking about.
Maybe. I don't know. But,
I'm gonna go walking. Have a happy day, everyone.
Crying out loud.
Happy day.
Again. All right.
But it's been doing fairly well, and there's some things that I can't talk about yet that have been doing. Actually, I've been extremely flattered. And like I said, when you deal with NDAs and contracts and different things, you can't talk about it. But I got some really good things in the works.
Good.
So it won't be, let's just say self-publishing has become a thing of the past for me. So, yeah, no, it's some good stuff coming up.
How long?
Go ahead.
How long before we can find out some stuff? Possibly.
Earliest, from what I'm told, is probably October.
Cool.
So it's just a few months away.
Well, that's something to look forward to.
Yeah, well, you might want to, if you want to get a head start, you can listen to The Blood Witch. It'll kind of give you an idea. That's
Cool.
a totally different. It's not in the sci-fi range. That's a fantasy book, and that's the actual full novel. I've done 3 full novels now, a couple novellas, and it's just that's all I can say. Anything more than that, I
Then say no more.
Wouldn't be honoring a commitment.
And that is a must. You must honor that commitment. Absolutely.
So no, it's for me it's unreal, because I never ever thought of myself as an author. I always musician first, doctor second. When it comes to profession, anyway, family's always first. And then with that forced retirement because of my health, then I put my mind to good use apparently, and it blows me away. Because like I said, my book actually is selling. It's done okay on Amazon. They post it in small lots, 15, 20. I don't know how many times it's sold out. So there's been a few hundred books sold. So I've never calculated the exact number, and I don't get any of the money from it because it goes into a fund for my family for when I'm gone. So, but I'm just very, very grateful. I was inspiration and being at the right place at the right time, I guess.
Yeah, I keep hoping I sell more books, but at this point, it's just I give up.
Well, let Captain Trek read it. He'll talk you up. He did me.
Yeah.
Sci-Fi Nation got one. He talked me up. You get the right people to read it, and if it's good, they'll say good things about you, and it spreads like wildfire.
Yeah, no, I understand that. I've given away free copies and things, and so at this point, I'm thinking that the book probably just isn't actually that good. But
I think you're being too hard on yourself, quite honestly. I haven't read it, obviously, so I wouldn't know. But let me ask you this, Adega. Before people read it, what was your attitude toward your writing?
I had this, like, I've had this story in my head forever, and it was just nice to be able to put it down. And then I shared it with my brother, who's well read. I mean, all of Stephen King, Louis L'Amour, all the bigwigs. And he looked at me and he said, "You wrote this?" And I said, "Yeah." And he says, "This is awesome." And I didn't believe him. So I got another guy, and he's one of the ones I credit at one of the end of the books that I have on my YouTube. His name's Kevin, and he read it, and he goes, "Yeah, this needs to be published. This is really good." And he's a big sci-fi guy. So that's where it came about. It wasn't a desire to put a book, because I didn't think I was, one, worthy of it, and two, talented enough for it. But when I can talk with you in October, the realization of things is quite astonishing to me.
Yeah, I've had those compliments as well from people who have read the book, and I'm proud of what I've done, and I'm happy with what I've done. Regardless of whether I ever recoup the money from self-publishing or even make money off of the book, it's not something I'm really concerned about, because it's out there, and so
Right.
I'm really happy with it.
Right, and your kids have something to hold on to.
Yeah, and I've got a couple of children's novels or children's books that I want to put out. I just need to find the right artist to do the animations for it, but
that's always a good market too. My mom, she wrote 2 books, and the sad thing about my mom, and she got them published. I think they were, one of them was self, one of them was conventional, but they didn't sell. And her problem was some of my parents were quite old. They adopted me when they were older, and being from the 20s and 30s, she wrote about the 20s and 30s with an attitude of the 20s and 30s, and she tried to get the books published in the 80s and 90s.
Right.
And people didn't want to read anything that was based in that. It wasn't current. These her idea of a love story with the greatest generation mindset wouldn't apply to some Generation X or anybody else who's dealing with current movies and things, and it just didn't do well. But the thing is, on my bookshelf, I have 2 works that my mom did, and my kids will have that. It's something that generations will say, this was our great-grandmother, great-great-grandmother. She did this. Give them a look at what her mindset was, how she felt about things, how her creativity and her imagination worked. That will never go away. It's out there.
Yeah, regardless of whether it ever sells or not. It's a work of art that was put out by someone you know and you love.
Right.
And that's really at this point, regardless of whether I sell any more books ever again, I've got 14 copies on the shelf right now, and so all the kids, all the family members, and I've signed so many damn copies. But I mean, so the book is out there, and my family has read the book.
Right.
And so I'm happy with that.
There you go.
I really am. So regardless of whether I sell enough copies to recoup the money from self-publishing or not, I'm happy with it. And if I can get those children's books published with the animations and everything else, we can sell those to the military, to the morale welfare, because they are literally military books.
I got something for you. One of these days, you're gonna have to follow me to these author channels, because they give little hints and things. Most of the people in there are they've never been published and stuff, but they write a lot and they have ideas, and all of them have liked this. So I put it in my most recent commercial for my book, and I think I hope you take this to heart. But this is a quote from me. Sorry. Little selfish here, but I like it. Here it is. If an emotion can be created, elevated, or manipulated in a reader, the author has done well, regardless of the size of the audience.
You are absolutely correct.
Absolutely.
And now, mind you, I started this book in 2005. And I finished it in 2011, and I published it in 2018. And so between those gaps in the years, I had forgotten a lot of what I had written. So when I actually read the book itself for the book itself, I was crying my eyes out. And so it worked on me, and I know it worked on some of my family members, because they came back to me and left the reviews on Amazon and things like that. And so I know that it worked specifically for me and several of my family members. So yeah, absolutely. And whether it ever gets popular or not, it's just, it's something I had to put out there, and I'm really glad that I did.
No, it's important. And the thing I've discovered, I saw Kathia come in here.
Kathia!
A lot of what is going on with authors and books is sad. For the simple fact is, I have ran in, and she's one of them, into really good authors. And I've been fortunate. But really good authors aren't always that fortunate. Her ideas and things are, the way she writes is really good. And if you're fortunate enough, maybe someday she'll share it or have it published or what have you. And I'm sure yours is the same way. It just, I was a lucky one.
Yeah, well, Kathia, she's shared stories with me before. And
I like her stuff.
It's fantastic, really. Her stuff is a lot more esoteric than anything I've written ever. But it's still fantastic. And when she goes on live streams, Kathia, do you want to come up and chit chat for a while? We're talking author stuff.
On that note, I'm gonna head off. I have things I need to get done. But
all right, Knight. Thank you for showing up.
Catch you later.
Yes. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I'll probably hop in next time or whenever I feel like it.
Yeah, it was really nice having a teenager's point of view.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Yeah, totally.
So, yeah, Kathia has shared with me a few of her stories, and they are very good. Very good. So, Kathia and Jedi Bill, if you guys want to pop up on here, that's fine. There's plenty of room, obviously. I still got 4 slots to fill. And yes, I have been up for 28 hours.
I've done that before.
When do you
my
go to
record
doc-
is like 49.
I went for 53 hours once. That was field training exercise in Bamberg, Germany. And I was in a contest with my squad leader or section leader, and he didn't make it. I won.
Okay,
that's
I have
some
to
serious
ask,
bragging rights.
what did you win? Because making it for that long, you better have
just
won
bragging
something.
rights. That's all it was, just bragging rights. I think you bought me a 12-pack of beer. That's about it.
Well, hey, that's something.
But yeah, I outlived him. He had to go to bed at 52 hours. I was like, woohoo! I won! Whee! Stayed up for another hour because I was too tired to go to sleep.
It's amazing. I get
pretty
so much
much
more
the position I'm in right now is I'm too tired to go to sleep. Ay.
You know, it sounds bad. There are times I almost wish I had that problem. I know I don't wish I had it, but because of the pain medication I'm on, I'm sometimes lucky to be awake 6 hours. And it drives me nuts because I used to be able, I could go for 18 hours a day. No problem.
Yeah. I so miss my Percocet. I really do. When the VA decided that they weren't going to give us veterans Percocet anymore, that was, well, to begin with, it was one of the worst withdrawal symptoms I've ever had for anything. But at the same time, people offer me morphine, Percocet, or whatever else is available in their medicine cabinet from their wisdom teeth being pulled or something like that. And I just got to go, I appreciate the offer. I really do, but I cannot accept. Because if I take it now, I will want to take it for the rest of my life, and I can't because the VA won't give it to me.
Nah, you don't want to be on it anyway.
I wish I had the pain medicine. I really do. My legs hurt, my back hurts, and everything else hurts. But I won't take it, Good. I'll just drink wine and be happy.
Nah, I got off of all that stuff about a year ago. And I don't talk about it much. Things aren't easy, but it's far better than it was when I was on the medication.
I'm sorry. I wish that were the case with me. I really do. I mean, 5 years ago, I came off the meds, and it's just gotten worse since then. But
no, I'm not saying that the pain is better. It's what it's done to my head is better. If you go back and listen to some of my old recordings, you can hear a difference. Before, because on my YouTube, real early on, before I was diagnosed, I had done some Star Wars. What was it? Knights of the Old Republic. Some training videos for doing the space missions because people were having a hard time with it, and I didn't have any issues, so I made those. And then I started doing the book stuff and a few other things, and you could just hear how I really sounded strange. And then it affected my attitude. I was mean. And I had tried a couple different things. The doctors had me on different stuff, because...
yeah, the antidepressants.
No,
yeah,
I didn't take any of the mood stuff. It was all for the... I don't want to talk about it, but either way... Right. I saw what my family was going through, and one day I just said no. And I went through, like you said, the withdrawals, where you got the cold bones and the hot skin and suicidal and all that stuff for like 2 days, Went through all of that stuff. And having the clear head is far more desirable for me than being pain-free. And there was a thing in the brain.
I didn't actually realize how much the Percocet was keeping my pain in check until I came off of it.
There is a thing too with the brain, depending on what you have, but it works all the way. It has what they call a gating mechanism. Your neurons will receive impulses and send impulses on certain pathways along the spine into the brain, down, up and down your body, and it could only take so much. You have just to simplify it, you have, say, 110 line that goes to your computer, but your computer has all kinds of information trying to draw 220 through it. Well,
yeah,
it has to put a dampener on that, otherwise it will fry the line. Well, your brain works the same way. If you got nothing but pain signals all the time, shooting up in your brain and you work through it, eventually that gating mechanism will kick in. I'm not saying you're going to be pain-free, but it's going to diminish the vast majority, the severity of it, and it will become manageable if you work through it. And it takes time, but you're training your brain to deal with it.
I understand. I understand where you're coming from, and I appreciate what you're saying. At the same time, I have progressive multiple sclerosis.
Right.
And so
I've had a lot of patients with MS.
The pain has gone from my lower legs all the way up to my diaphragm at this point.
Right.
And
no, I've seen a lot of MS patients. I know what you're going through, not personally, but I have seen a ton of them.
So the Percocet actually kept it in check, and now I can barely walk. I appreciate what you're saying. I really do, and I try. I do my absolute best to walk whenever I can. But at the same time, walking back to my house is often more of a chore than it is a joy.
Right.
So
where do you live? If you don't mind me ask, just the state.
Arizona. I live in the mountains.
Okay.
And
I used to know in several different locations you'll have to check. And you're going to think I'm weird, and you're going to think you've tried it already, because I hear the stories all the time. But if you find a good Palmer graduate chiropractor, it will be better for you than anything else. I've had patients with the brain sand, and it went away. I've had patients who are in chairs that walk and don't use the medication. It always happens. Doesn't mean you're gonna.
I was with a chiropractor for 6 months. I don't know if he was Palmer.
It has to be a Palmer because the schools do train differently, and it has to be a good one out of there. But any of them. I have seen hundreds of MS patients. I saw them when I was at school, and every time you have someone who knows what they're doing, they will correct a lot of those nerve impulses. It's all about making the nerves work better so that you can deal with the MS. And I literally have MRIs of people with the brain sand, and then a year later where the brain sand is gone, and they have the medical doctor say, we don't know what happened. And they say, we went to a chiropractor, and they say, that's impossible. But you have to have the guy or gal who knows what they're doing.
Well, that would be nice. I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm saying that would be nice. I've tried.
I know it's possible. I've just seen it so many times. I've seen so many people in your circumstance. It just, the thing is finding the right person in your area, if they're in your area. In Mountain Range, I'm thinking if you're in Flagstaff, I know there's at least one there. If you're in Sedona, I think there's a couple there. If you're on the east side of the state, I have no idea.
No, I'm near enough to Flagstaff to make the difference. So,
yep.
Yeah.
Do your homework. Check out the Palmer graduates, not Palmer method. Some of these guys will lie because they know the difference. You know, they graduate from these different schools and they say, yeah, I know the Palmer method. Not Palmer method. It has to be a Palmer graduate, and preferably from Iowa, because they have one in California, they have one in Florida. They're okay schools. You get one out of Iowa, which is where you're going to get the cream of the crop out of all of them.
I might try that. I mean,
I would strongly suggest it. I know from talking with Loki, one of the things that Adega did was Loki was having a problem with his arm, and told him how to do the exercise that he was doing before, but told him how to do it differently, where it actually helped more.
Yeah, I've been through physical therapy for 15 years, and
I've heard that too.
so maybe. I mean, I'm willing to try anything at this point because the
Well-
VA's not giving anything to anybody ever.
Yeah.
Sometimes,
Honestly,
like in my state, sometimes the VA will cover it. Sometimes it won't. It depends on what you have, and it depends on the state. So you might get lucky. I don't remember how Arizona works.
Arizona's more libertarian than anything else.
Well, we moved here to. I'm in Michigan. We moved here from Bullhead. You know where Bullhead is, of course.
Yeah.
And it was absolutely terrible for my special needs son. Arizona is at least 20 years ago, 15 years ago. It was a joke. I think it was 20 years ago now. He's 22. Yeah, it was 18 years ago. It was an absolute joke to have health care for a child with severe special needs.
It still is. It still is.
Yeah, there was horror stories, and people, they would come to my wife and like, she's a chiropractor as well, and say, you got to represent us and this and that and the other. I says, well, while we're doing all of that, our son suffers, and they tell him to take him home and let him die. I says, you know what? We can't do that. You have to take charge of your own child. We can't take charge of everybody's child in our little community. So we moved here to Michigan, and things were a lot better. Because we can get him a wheelchair, we can get him to sleep. The thing, all the different stuff that he needed, where the doctors there were refusing it. And my wife literally almost killed. And fortunately, there was a couple of big Navajo guys that ran interference, said, doctor, you need to leave the office now, or we're going to let this woman kill you. Because they were going through the same thing. The doctor says he doesn't need a wheelchair. Well, a kid lays down all the time, his organs aren't going to develop right. They need to be able to sit up. Kids are meant to stand, walk around, and everything. And you just say, no, I'm not going to give you one. Of course, someone tells you that, and you're an educated doctor, and you know better. Of course, like I said, my wife was about ready to castrate him and shove this wang up his nose. So I kind of know Arizona, but I also know that there are, at least when we were there, 2 good Palmer grads in Flagstaff.
Okay. Yeah, I walked into a doctor's office once, and I was asking for the handicap accessible, the placard and the license plate. He said, well, you walked in here.
Right. Yeah.
I said, I walked in here
in and out of
once.
a car. Yeah. And the thing is, too, is being able to get in and out of a car. If you put it in a regular car stall, you can't open the door wide enough for someone who's got MS. It just doesn't work.
Holy crap. Trying to get the door open. It's like, oh my God, how do I get in and out of this car right now?
Right. You have to park on the other side of the parking lot. It's not a matter of walking. It's not a matter of using the wheelchair. It's a matter of being able to get in and out of the vehicle.
I tell people, when I worked, I told people, like, my truck is the perfect height for me because all I got to do is open the door and slide in.
Yeah, stick your butt right across. Yeah.
That's all it is. And they were like, why don't you put a lift on it? And I go, because then I would have to actually step up into my truck, wouldn't I?
Right.
My truck is the perfect height for me right now, and that's all I want.
Nah, but I want to hear good things out of you. And if you could find one. And if you don't like the guy or gal,
and
switch if you got options. And the other thing is, too, is you have to be patient. Because if you're in a wheelchair, you've had this for a long time.
I don't want to make you think that I'm ignoring you because I have been reading your chats, and I have actually tried the CBD oil with THC and without THC, and it just does not work for me at all. But I appreciate the advice. I do, but I've tried them both, and neither one of them work.
CBD oil is weird.
As a matter of fact, I took a 16th of a dose of gummy, edible gummy, and it stripped away the surface pain, but it left all of the underlying pain, and so that actually came out, and I literally felt like I was burning from the inside out.
Right. Now, some people it doesn't do anything at all. Some people it masks things, and then there's some people where it actually, the weirdest thing in the world. I've seen this girl since she was little. She had an abusive mom, and I had to do the whole court thing and document and everything to get her out of there, so she was with her dad. Because, mom's got to be the best mom, except mom drug her around by her back and used her
same situation.
Yeah, used her child support for drugs.
Years old.
Yeah, well, anyway, this girl had this problem. It's not Crohn's disease, but it was very similar. And she kept going in and out of the hospital, and they couldn't figure out what was going on, or this or that or the other. And CBD oil actually worked. I have no idea how, why. There actually are. Everything that you hear about CBD oil is anecdotal. There is no research on it. I've searched. It's all anecdotal. They say, yeah, we got documented this and that and the other, but you go through the sources, it's all anecdotal.
Yeah.
But in some cases, it does some good. Most of the cases, it doesn't. It fools people. It's like a placebo. But in some cases, it does work. And in this kid, it worked. I was just surprised because she could eat without having cramps, diarrhea, vomiting, because she was losing tons and tons of weight. And it allowed her, and it wasn't a change of appetite. Because, sometimes people think, well, this is also going to give you the munchies like smoking weed, but not necessarily. So it wasn't necessarily a change of appetite, but it altered her system to where she could metabolize things normally. And it was weird. I still don't know why it worked, but it did.
And that's great. I love hearing those success stories. I really do. I wish that it had worked for me. I really do. Unfortunately, it didn't. So, whatever.
Yeah. There's certain things.
My primary care physician is more worried about my liver than I am, because alcohol is really the only thing that helps at this point.
Right. And you're not uncommon. I'm sure you've gotten with some of the MS circles, the support groups and things, and they'll say the same thing.
Yeah. And unfortunately, that's just the way it is right now. So,
Right.
I just got to live with it the way it is right now. So, it's okay.
Well, if you find someone and you start going and you have questions, because sometimes, not all the times, but sometimes, and you find this in dentistry, you'll find this in medical doctors, you'll find this with your car repair. They become more of a salesperson instead of your actual provider, like a car person. Well, yeah, you need to have your brakes done and this and that and the other. Your brakes are 80% still good, but they want to top them up. No, you don't need that. You go to your medic or your dentist. Well, you should have this tooth and this done and this done. Well, you really don't need that. They're just, putting the polish on the countertops, And the same thing with chiropractors. Some of them will say, well, we could do this and this and this, and it's like, maybe not. Doesn't mean he's not or she's not a good chiropractor. It just means they may be giving you more than you actually need or more than you want.
Yeah.
So if you run into that or you have questions, you can ask me as soon as you find the right person.
I've had issues, with chiropractors, and it's not the adjustments that I have a problem with. It's the belief that the adjustments will make a difference.
Well, here's the thing. I understand that because since childhood, this argument started over 100 years ago with the Spanish flu. You know how we had people they were sending to different places to go die here with the flu that we had now. Well, it was much, much, much worse then. And they sent them to the chiropractors. And the chiropractors, none of those people died. They all recovered real quickly, kind of like chloroquine. They didn't want to believe it, so they made up all these lies about chiropractors. And you grow from a kid where you got a pain or ache, you got to take this pill. You know, you see on TV all the time, this is for this symptom and this symptom, this symptom. Chiropractors come in at a different approach. And this is why some people find it, and you're not unusual. The real philosophy from an honest chiropractor who's been trained properly is that if we can get your brain to communicate through the nervous system to the body properly, since the brain was what started off of cell 1 that made your body develop into what it is anyway, it will know how to adapt the hormones, the chemicals, the food processing, everything for you to heal or maximize your potential. Doesn't mean you're going to be perfect, but it will maximize your potential.
You're absolutely right. When you go to a chiropractor who has been trained in musculoskeletal discipline, you can get, for instance, I have my 7th rib pops out.
Yeah.
And
those aren't fun.
No, it's not fun, and it's not actually that unusual. But a very well-trained chiropractor can put it back in place, and I'll feel good for a month.
Right.
I'm not sure if that would be the case now, considering how high the nerve damage has gone.
It was a younger guy, but I took care of him.
Diaphragm, and so I'm not sure how much more I can take. The fact that I can barely eat at this point is it's irritating to me.
Right.
The fact that I can barely eat, and remember, I went to culinary school, so I know how to cook.
Right.
So,
well, here's the thing that you also you need to put it in the back of your mind, because it is true. And if they tell you this, it is true. Say like someone has a spinal injury, and sometimes they say it's going to take 3-4 years before that nerve comes back. You know, it's a hard struggle. You have to retrain everything. Sometimes you have to make new nerve pathways to get everything correct. Well, think of someone with crooked teeth. You put braces on, it doesn't straighten overnight. It takes a while. And nerves are notorious for being very slow. And we cannot, as chiropractors, put braces on your nerves. They have to be reinforced frequently sometimes, depending on the condition. So in order for it to come back properly, you may be seeing the person a lot more than just when your ribs sore. That's just the way the nervous system
works. The main
works.
concern I have right now is the 3 black spots on my nerve column in my lower spine. Because I know what that signifies.
Right.
There's no flaring on the MRI.
Right.
Which means that it's not a
it's not inflammation. It's not a radiographic artifact. You
exactly.
Didn't have,
And so the demyelinization
yes,
is happening.
Yes.
And so it concerns me, but
it can be remyelinated to a certain degree. I've seen it.
So I just gotta. I don't like talking about this subject. Let's talk about Star Trek.
Well, the thing is the reason, and we could switch. I just wanted to say, I want to help, and I've had to retire because of my own condition. And when I have the chance to tell people how to help themselves, or to receive help, or make their life even just a little bit better, I am eager to do that. So we can go ahead and change subjects. Besides, I need to get going anyway. I wasn't intending on being on any stream, and I've got a lot of things to do. Normally, when I'm on someone's chat, I'm only in and out every 5 or 6 minutes. Just boom, boom, boom. I'm not there the whole time because I'm always trying to do something, or I'm being called away to do something, even though I don't feel good. You know what? I gotta put my 2 feet underneath me and get moving. So, this is one of those times. Plus, I got a Geloja really, really bad.
I do understand that one. Yes.
So, thanks for having me on, and I'll catch you later.
Well, thanks for coming on.
You have a good evening, Adega. Thank you.
Oh, Captain Trek.
Yes, sir.
I don't know, man. We still got 5 people in the chat. That means I'm successful.
Absolutely. I would agree.
And RR, yes, it is hit and miss for everyone. And I've tried as many things as I could possibly do. So I understand where you're coming from, and I appreciate it. But at the same time, it's just, I got to live with what I got. And, for instance, on Wednesday, I changed an alternator for a buddy of mine on it was one of those Japanese cars that was really hard to work on. But I had all the tools and everything we needed to get it done. And we did it. And it took us, 2-3 hours. So I can still do everything that I used to be able to do. It's just a lot more painful now. And the holistic medications that I've tried over the last 5 years have never worked. So I'm willing to try the chiropractor that Adega recommended. I'm willing to try it because I've got nothing left to lose. Am I optimistic? Nope. And that may be one of my problems. So it's just, it is what it is at this point. I just got to live with it. So anyway,
the very fact that you're willing to look into it is admirable. But as you said, you wanted to change the topic, so we don't need to talk about this anymore.
Exactly. I've tried acupuncture. I've tried the cupping. I've tried, all the holistic medicines that they allow us to do. But it is no longer a subject I want to dwell on. My father died at 47 from the same disease, and I'm 4 years away from that. So I'm hoping that I'll live till I'm 50, and that would be great.
Knowing you'll live well beyond 50. You'll be a pain in the ass to Digital 11.
I'm sure that's
for years to come.
I wish Digital 11 would come back on here so we could make more fun of him.
Oh, I think we had enough. Need to be nice to him now.
Yeah.
Be nice to him. He's good. He's a good boy.
I know you're a Trek guy, but let's talk about Dave Filoni.
Dave Filoni. What about him?
Well, and I've listened to a bunch of different articles and responses to the article. And mind you, it's been 5 years since Dave Filoni made that speech. But at the same time, he was pandering to the females that he was speaking to at that conference.
See, that's the thing. Things I've heard making it sound like it was more recent than 5 years.
Oh no, yeah, it was like 2016. Yeah, it was a long time ago.
See, that's the problem. What his viewpoints were then and now could be radically different.
And like Jeremy at Geeks and Gamers said, he is making Star Wars. He is not making Kathleen Kennedy political garbage. He's making Star Wars. And that's what we want. And so, regardless of whether he was pandering at the time, he is still making Star Wars. With the Mandalorian and the Clone Wars finale and everything else that he's been doing, he's still making Star Wars. He's not making political garbage that we don't want to watch. And so his speech 4 or 5 years ago, it really doesn't matter at this point, because he had to secure his job. Okay, fine. He had to pander to the audience that he was speaking to. Okay, fine. I've done that. So it's not something I hold against him.
No.
And I don't think anybody else should hold against him.
I don't think so either. But see, the problem I have is that the picture is being painted that it was a recent thing, not 2016. There's a difference.
That is a huge difference. Yeah. In the last 4 years, a lot of things have changed. And going back 4 years and picking out, something that he had to do to secure his job at Lucasfilm, it's not fair to him.
No,
it's really not. And so I appreciate that he was pandering at the time, but at the same time, I wish he didn't have to.
Well, like I said, I wish they would represent it honestly. Did he do this before? Obviously he did. Is he doing it now? That is the question.
Well,
and if they can't say yes, then they need to drop it.
The picture from last year, in which he and Lucas and Favreau were all in the forefront, and Kathleen Kennedy was in the background.
Oh yeah,
right. So that's the picture that we should have in our heads now.
Correct.
As opposed to going back 4 or 5 years and going, oh, look what he did at this women's conference. Well, you know what? He's put out a lot of great stuff since then.
Yeah.
And so there's no reason to castigate him as a panderer, even though he was at the time. But right now, the political winds are shifting. The pendulum is swinging the opposite way, and so trying to put someone down for something they said 4 or 5 years ago is not fair to that person.
No, it's not, and it's dishonest. To be quite blunt,
It is because it's being advertised as something he said, a month ago,
right?
and it's not the case. It's been 4 or 5 years. So
if it were being said that this is what he said at this time, okay, I could see maybe okay, but painting it as though it was a modern thing, like it happened last week, no, I disagree with. You got to be honest. You got to be honest about it. If you're going to say that he said this, you got to paint it. You got to paint the whole picture and say when he said it, why he said it,
where he said it.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. They'll say where he said it, that he said it, and what he said, but kind of leave out when and why. And without the full picture, yeah, it looks kind of bad.
It does, and I understand it's not clickbait for everyone. It just seems like clickbait for a lot of people.
Yeah, it is. I'm sorry, I like the channels that I've seen it on, but I've seen it and I didn't know at the time that it wasn't, until how many years ago? 5 years ago?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
It's not recent at all.
So, see, that changes the entire picture of it.
It really does. I mean, the time frame that you're talking about is it was a whole different political picture, and Dave Filoni would not be working on Clone Wars or Mandalorian right now if he had not made that speech at that time. And what we have is Clone Wars and Mandalorian because he made that speech.
Yeah.
So regardless of whether he actually believes what he was saying or not, he is still making absolutely good Star Wars. And we're not getting that from anyone else right now.
Agreed. We agree there. Does somebody else want to come on? I'm sure that, we're quite entertaining to listen to, but, it would be fun to involve other people in the discussion as well.
It would be. Actually, I'd like to see RR up here. Would you like to come up here, RR? I should actually make some of these people wrenches.
Oh. Ooh. I'm sorry. I'm going to have to step out for a moment. I shall return.
No worries. I can tell an army story.
Then I'll have to rewatch it.
So there it was. No shit. Okay. Well, considering the topic we've been talking about, 2011, and it was right around August. No, okay, it was earlier than that. Yeah, it was April. No, it was May. Okay, it was May. And I was a contracting officer. Now, a lot of people don't understand what a contracting officer is. So you have contractors who are hired by contracting officers, and that's what I was. So I hired people to bring in supplies or to do services around the base, things like that. And I was a contracting officer. So I wrote the contracts, I signed the contracts. They were legal contracts for the United States government to hire people to come in and do work on the base. Well, everyone knows that in 2011, we were pulling out of Iraq. The problem with that, of course, is that the contractors had been doing all of the services on the base for the last 6 years prior to 2011. We started hiring the contractors in 2004, 2005. So the fuelers, and I was a fueler for 14 years, the fuelers did not know how to work their own trucks. They didn't understand how to turn the pump on, how to dispense fuel. And so the base was without power for 3 days until someone taught them how to use their own equipment. And then, oh my God, this was the worst thing. This was the absolute worst thing. The cooks had never been trained how to cook. So the dining facility was filled with smoke for 3 days until they figured out that you can't cook a hamburger for 14 minutes on one side and turn it into charcoal. Oh, holy crap. I could not believe for the life of me. And I'd been in for 15 years at that point. I could not believe for the life of me that these support services did not know how to do their job. It was absolutely shocking to me that we were without power and the food was all burnt, all of it. How do you burn noodles? How? I know you let the steam kettle run dry and then the noodles burn, but wow, that was just the worst food I'd ever had, and no power, so there was no air conditioning, and it was, May, so it was 110 degrees. So we had no power, no air conditioning, and the food was just awful. It was just awful.
Where was this at?
This was in Iraq in 2011.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, we were canceling all the contractor support that we had for the last 6 years, 7 years. And so we were canceling all of that contractor support. The problem is that our support services in the military didn't actually know how to do their job.
Aha.
Yeah, the fuelers could not figure out how to work a fuel truck, and the cooks could not figure out how to cook food. So we were without power for 3 days. We were without the dining facility was filled with smoke for 3 days. It was just a nightmare.
I bet some of them were begging for MREs at that point.
I was. Oh, Jedi Bill. Jedi Bill has joined the stream.
Awesome.
Hello.
There you go. Hey, brother, what's happening?
I'm on my phone. I've never tried this on my phone.
Seems to be working. I hear you loud and clear.
Oh, yeah.
That's good.
How's Nina doing?
She's good. Can you hear the TV? She's watching TV.
No.
I cannot hear the TV. So
that's
worked out perfect.
That's a good thing. I'm tired. I think my body's still trying to recuperate from that 35 plus hours.
Yeah, I agree.
You think it is?
Huh. No doubt. No doubt. Yeah.
You're not 18 anymore.
No, I'm pushing 50. I got
Sorry,
2 more
at almost 50, you're not going to be. You said 2 years, so at 48, you're not going to be doing the same things you were at 18 or 28.
I know, but my mind still thinks like that, though.
I get that. And your body says, "Huh?
Yeah.
You want me to do what?"
Yeah.
What are you up to today, Jedi Bill?
Just relaxing.
Good.
I just made myself a ham sandwich, and it was good.
Holy shit! It's 1:30 already.
Yes, it is.
Huh. Wow. I cannot believe I've been up all night.
I can. See, while you were on other people's streams, I actually slept for a while.
That's actually a good thing.
My body still wants to sleep. I don't know why I haven't gotten to sleep. Probably because I have some joint pain and but I don't take anything for it.
Neither do I anymore.
I live with the pain.
On ibuprofen.
How you doing, Captain Trek?
Oh, I'm doing all right. I am fortunate. I'm going to be calling again this week to try to get in to my surgeon. Yay. I'm just looking forward to getting in. So
I'm looking forward to hearing your full lung capacity.
Oh, yeah, I've gotten tired of having to go in the middle of the phrase. I can't get enough air.
Yeah.
But with like half diaphragm support, it's like I'm doing the best I can.
That's good. You're talking to the dog, right? You're talking to Brady. All right. I have to let the dog out.
Ah, okay. Then yeah, that's probably a good idea.
He's like looking at me. Please, I gotta go.
Yeah, I fed them and gave them their treats. Many hours ago, apparently. I saw the sun peeking through the curtains, and I went, "Oh, I better feed the dog."
Rabbit House. Are you a racehorse or are you a dog?
Oh, I'm a dog. I'm not a racehorse
No.
anymore.
No, I was talking to Brady. And that he's not named after the quarterback. No. I don't like that quarterback.
No, I was a racehorse back in the day. I ran cross country. I was a triathlete, and now I sit in a chair for 18 hours talking into a microphone.
Yeah. I actually was quite athletic in high school. I did the same thing: track, cross country. I played football for most of my high school years.
Yeah. No, that's cool though. I mean, you live the best life you can. That's what you do.
I remember when I played football, high school football, all the other teams from all the other high schools, they were giants, and I was a short guy.
Yeah.
You know, because I'm about 5'9", I believe, and you're looking up at 6 foot something guys, and I'm a lineman.
High school because I was an all-star basketball player in junior high.
Mm-hmm.
And I was actually really, really good at basketball. So in high school, I showed up to the tryouts, and I was the shortest guy there. I was like, okay, maybe that's probably not the best sport for me. Switched over to the water polo team. My freshman year, I was the JV captain, and so I set hole in the JV for water polo. But my senior year, they moved me up to varsity, and so I set hole for varsity, and that was not good. Water polo is a very, very dangerous sport if you don't know what you're doing. I didn't know what I was doing.
You had more idea than I would, so I can't say much there.
But yeah, I couldn't play basketball anymore. I wasn't tall enough. I probably could have at the time. But white boy in South Central Los Angeles was not a place to be for a basketball player. So I went and joined the swim team. Yep, that was me.
How did you like that?
Say again?
I said, how did you like it?
Oh my God, I was a great swimmer. They actually put me on the 500 meter team.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would have to swim a 500 meter course, and I won third place in state finals.
Wow.
It would have been great if I got first place, but I mean, third place is for California State. I mean, for swimming.
That's still impressive, yes.
Right? So I'm really happy about that.
I would be too.
And then when I joined the Army, we would do sports days once in a while. And they would always think, white boy playing basketball, probably not very good, right? That's what they would think. So I always got chose last.
Yeah.
And then when we got out on the court, I was like, okay, I'm there. I got the rebound. I'm driving it up the lane and I'm putting it into the basket. And they're like, holy shit, where did you come from? I was like, I was an all-star basketball player in junior high. What did you think I was gonna do? So that was a lot of fun, actually. teaching those kids how to play basketball. I mean, you play in junior high and you play in high school, but if you're not on the team and you don't actually do the exercises and you don't do the drills and things like that, you don't really know what you're doing. You're just out there with 5 other guys, or 4 other guys playing basketball.
Yeah.
But if you got someone who actually knows what they're doing and can drive the ball up the court and put it in the basket, they're like, what? It's like, I'm 5'10", white boy with blonde hair, driving up the court, putting the ball in the basket. They're like, what? It was so fun to watch. Their expressions always changed. And it didn't matter. I did a unit for 3 years, 5 years, something like that. But every time we played basketball, I got chose last. Every time we played basketball, I drove the goddamn ball up the court and put it in the basket. They were like, what? For 5 years. Like, you really don't remember last month? You really don't remember?
Oh.
Because I'm not 6'2" and black. That's why.
Yeah.
I don't remember. I'm 5'10" and white. That's why I don't remember. It's ridiculous. Oh my God, those were some good years. And then I broke my ankle. Bummer. Yeah, can't play basketball, can't play any kind of sports anymore. No worries. Yeah, that actually was really funny. I actually enjoyed doing that to the guys. Sergeant Christopher, you're on my team. Okay. My team always won, by the way.
You would think they would learn, but apparently not.
No. It really was odd. I mean, how do you not remember? It's only been a month. We get to play basketball once a month, and you really don't remember? Are you sure? Are you really that dumb?
Well, maybe they were.
I was in the quartermaster corps, so yes, they probably were. I never told this story before, and I'm going to tell it now because, well, we're here. Might as well.
Okay.
Advanced Individual Training, AIT. That's what it's called. So you graduate from basic training, you're a private, and you go to advanced individual training. That is a school specific training. So I was learning all about fuel and fuel vehicles and how to deal with them and everything else. Well, the first 8 weeks. The first 8 weeks is all classroom training. And so you need to be able to, read.
Right.
Well, there was this guy who was in our class, and he did not pass the Armed Services Vocational Aptitude Test.
Right.
He did not pass it. He literally could not pass the test. And I'm talking about this test is 2 + 2 = what? 4.
Oh my. Yeah.
The most complicated question on the test was, if you have 2 lobes on a cam, how many times will it hit the camshaft on a full 360 rotation? That was the most complicated test question on the test. Well, if you have 2 cams and it goes in one full circle, how many times does it hit the camshaft?
Twice? I don't know.
Twice. It hits the camshaft twice. That is the most complicated question on the test. And this guy failed the test. You can't fail the ASVAB. You cannot fail it.
Obviously you can.
Obviously you can. Obviously you can. And he was in my class. So when I tell the story about reading my book under the table of the desk that I was at, I was literally reading a book and not paying attention to the lecture that was going on with my instructors. And I graduated as an honor graduate. That should give you an indication of the quality of personnel that I lived with for 15 years.
Yes.
Prior to becoming a contracting officer. Holy shit. These people. They had to take notes and they had to study their notes in order to pass the test. My instructors knew for a fact that I was reading a book under the table. They didn't give a shit. And I was in the front row.
Oh, that's pretty bad.
That's really
Yeah,
bad. And I was teaching other people how to pass the test. I mean, the first week I took notes. I took a lot of notes. The first week I was like, okay, I'm taking notes. I'm taking notes. I'm taking notes. I'm taking notes. And I took that first test and I went, what the fuck am I taking notes for? There's absolutely no point to this whatsoever. And so I just stopped. I was like, okay, I'm going to read books. Because books are a hell of a lot more entertaining than these goddamn lectures.
Yep.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. So yeah, that was my first year in the Army. I'm ashing all over the place. I keep forgetting to knock it off into the
ashtray.
Oh, jeez.
That's not good.
There's so many stories to tell, though, you know?
Of course.
You could be like Disney. That'd be for another time.
Yeah.
And never elaborate.
Story for another time.
Yeah. Or I could tell you this story.
I don't know. I made a video about this story, and I don't think I actually told it to you guys because I made the video. So I figured, people are watching it. But there is a practical course that you have to go through in advanced individual training, AIT.
Right.
And so we went to the HEMT, and that's a heavy expanded mobile tactical truck. Had the 2,500 gallon fuel tank on the back of it with a tank and fuel, tank and pump system on the back.
Mm-hmm.
And the Army calls it a single point adapter, but in the civilian sector they call it just the okay, in the civilian sector they call it the single point adapter because literally it's the same nozzle for every plane.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's a single point adapter, and you stick it on there and you rotate it and you turn the valve and it opens up and you can fuel any plane with this nozzle. Well, in the Army, we call it the D1 adapter.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have to have an acronym for everything. And I still don't know what D1 means. And I was a fueler for 15 years, and I still don't know what D1 means. But on the back of the fuel truck, there is a single point adapter nozzle where you can literally pump fuel into the truck. So you can go up to, 2,400 gallons. Because it's 2,500 gallons, you got to leave room for expansion.
Right.
So you can go up to 2,400 gallons. Well, my instructor, a really wonderful guy, he was explaining that you should never, ever, 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 ever touch or push on the disc that holds the fuel back on the single point adapter, the D1 adapter. And he was explaining it, and he pushed the disc in to prove a point. Well, the problem is that even if you purge a fuel truck with water and you do it 3 or 4 times, so it's purged completely of fuel, well, you're never ever going to get rid of all the fuel.
No.
And so he pushed in the disc for the D1 adapter, and I just happened to be standing in the way. So that my first 6 months in the Army, yes, that was the time that I got covered with fuel for the first time. It was not the last time, mind you. It was the first time I got covered in fuel. It was mixed with water. I mean, don't get me wrong, but it was fuel. It was jet fuel, and I was soaked from head to toe because the guy pushed the goddamn D1 adapter nozzle in without checking to make sure it was empty. It's like, really? These are the people I'm going to be working with for the next 20 years. Are you sure? I'm not sure I want to work with these people for the next 20 years.
No.
Doesn't sound like a fun time.
No, it was fine. Wash the uniform, get the jet fuel out, iron it. It may smell bad for a couple of days, but you wash it enough, you iron it enough, it's fine. Holy crap. Oh, I could not believe it. I was absolutely soaked from head to toe in jet fuel. It was not the last time. Don't get me wrong.
Does jet fuel smell stronger than normal gasoline?
It does. Yeah. Well, it has a different smell. Yeah.
But highly flammable.
No, actually, jet fuel is less flammable than gasoline. Yeah, don't even ask me about that. I did tell you about the time we blew up a 50,000 gallon bag, right?
Oh, yes, I remember that.
So gasoline's flashpoint, and the flashpoint is when it actually explodes when you put a light to it, or a
heat
source to it. Gasoline is 95 degrees Fahrenheit. Jet fuel is 115 degrees Fahrenheit. So normally you don't have to worry about jet fuel exploding ever.
Right.
However, if all 15 of your 50,000 gallon bags are nearly empty, and they will never ever be empty, never, no matter what you do. So you may have 100 gallons in the bag. Well, if you're sitting in the sun in Iraq for 4 or 5 weeks, the temperature of the fuel is going to go up.
Yes.
In this case, the 100 gallons of fuel that was in the bag was above 115 degrees. And this female soldier, and I've been chastised for telling everybody that she's female, but I mean, what else are you going to say? This soldier went up to the vent and dropped matches into it to prove that jet fuel is not flammable. Mind you, under 115 degrees, jet fuel is not flammable.
Right. And it wasn't 115 degrees.
It was 125 degrees every day for 3 weeks. And so she dropped the matches into the vent, and the bag went for whoop.
Boom. Boom. Boom.
I mean, we're literally flying off of the bag. Oh my God, that was so funny.
It's too bad you didn't get some video of that.
Awesome. That would have been awesome. For whoop. Wow!
What not to do?
Jeez. I mean, mind you, we got there in April. I mean, it wasn't that hot in April, and the fuel was really, cool.
Right.
Comparatively speaking, and my section leader was proving a point that jet fuel is not flammable. So he was lighting matches and dropping them into the little puddle of fuel, and the matches were going out. So, I mean, I guess it made sense to the soldier that dropped the matches down into the vent, but knowing the difference between 95 degree fuel and 115 degree fuel actually matters.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that was so funny. And the guys that actually jumped over the berm with the fire extinguishers, cut the hole in the bag, and put the fire out. They got the same Army Commendation Medal as everyone else.
Yeah.
Yeah. They really should have gotten Bronze Stars for that. They really should have. But the only people getting Bronze Stars at the time were E6 and above. So Staff Sergeant and above. Because it didn't matter whether you sewed a guy's fingertip back on or if you put out a 50,000 gallon nightmare of a fuel fire. It was the same Army Commendation Medal. Yeah. Even the woman who set the bag on fire got the same Army Commendation Medal. because she was there. So it was been there, done that medal. One of my least valuable medals I've ever had. I hated the way they did when we came back from that god awful.
Sounds like your nieces and nephews, Captain, are getting all wound up.
Oh yes, my nephews are. Yeah, I better get going.
Okay.
All right, brother. Yeah, I'm done telling stories right now anyway, so.
And Captain's gone. Bye, Cap.
Well,
Catch
Jedi,
you later.
you and I have been going back all night, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna hit the road.
Sounds good.
Bed and see if I can get a couple hours sleep.
I hope more than a couple, at least 7. At least 7.
Well, that would be nice. I unlikely, but
I know. I'm the same way. I sleep maybe 3-4 hours. I'd be lucky to get over 5 hours sometimes. All right.
Fire up another stream later on tonight, but for now, I'm gonna call it. So.
Okay.
Or
Catch you on the next one.
Anyway, or an afternoon.
Catch you on the next. Yeah. All right, brother. Catch you later.
Catch you later, man.
Yep. Bye.